Thank you for joining us today. My name is Becky Higgins, President of the Ohio Education Association and a first grade teacher with nearly 2 decades of classroom experience. I love teachers, and I love that we have a presidential candidate in Hillary Clinton who cares as much about our children and their future as educators do. We are here today because as Ohio educators, we believe that the next president will have a profound impact on our children's future. In electing a president, we're not only selecting a leader for our country, we're also selecting a role model for our students. Words matter. Every time Donald Trump spews words meant to scare and divide us, our children hear that message, and some take it to heart. Our children and grandchildren are watching. These are just a few of the things teachers around the country have heard from their students over the last school year. You were born in a Taco Bell. If Donald Trump becomes president, you're out of here. And Trump is going to send everyone back to their countries. I'm going to have to lead. I taught, like I said, first grade for 19 years in a school that was very multicultural. And on the first day of every school year, we went over the classroom rules. Number 1 was always be kind to each other. Number 2 was treat others like you would like to be treated. And they always knew, that they were all important to me and to each other. This is unlike Donald Trump, who embraces stereotypes when he hurls racial slurs, insults immigrants and women, and talks about banning Muslims from entering our country. Our young students are like sponges. They see and hear everything. I have comforted students who have been bullied for their differences, while Donald Trump mocks people with disabilities. Try explaining why violence is never the answer to a child who has watched a presidential candidate encourage supporters to punch protesters in the face. I would like to read the lyrics now to a song from the musical South Pacific. It's called You Have to Be Carefully Taught. I think it's appropriate to my speech today, and it goes like this. You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8. To hate all the people your relatives hate, you've got to be carefully taught. Donald Trump, quite frankly, is teaching our children all the wrong lessons. If Donald Trump's campaign alone can have such a toxic effect, imagine the kind of damage he would do as president. That's why, from now until Election Day, we are going to spend every free minute we have to see that Hillary Clinton is elected the next president of the United States of America. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Melissa Cropper. I'm a library media specialist from Georgetown Exempted Village Schools, currently serving as the president of the Ohio Federation of Teachers. As a teacher, as a mother, as a grandmother, I couldn't agree more wholeheartedly with what President Higgins just said as far as the role model that Donald Trump is for our children. I'm here today also to show our support for Hillary Clinton for the president because our children are watching. And I'd like to give you a few other reasons why we support Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. As teachers, we have one of the most important jobs on the planet, guiding our children through creative pathways to discover and learn about the world around them and what role they want to play in this world. I want to say right from the outset that Hillary is with us. We will have a partner in the White House and a seat at the table if we win this election. She will listen to educators, the people who are closest to the children. Hillary is committed to making sure every child in Ohio receives a world-class education with good schools and good teachers, no matter what zip code they live in. Her plan to strengthen public education comes down to TLC: teaching, learning, and community. We are not surprised that Donald Trump's plan for education is to take $20 billion, that's billion with a B, $20 billion away from our public school children. Taking money meant for public schools away from public schools will have a devastating impact on our children. Trump plans to strip funding from up to 56,000 public schools, putting at risk the educations of nearly 21 million children. Trump plans to end Title I funding, the most important funding source for high-poverty schools, and cut $5 billion used for other crucial resources, potentially hurting more than 8 million higher education students who rely on Pell Grants, 5 million English language learners in public schools, and millions of others. Trump plans to take away $12.7 billion that 5 million students with disabilities count on to fund their educations. And Trump plans to eliminate as many as 300,000 teacher jobs, leaving millions of students in larger classes with less support. Trump's plan to slash and destroy education funding could mean the elimination of hundreds of teachers in Ohio. And the money he takes from public school children, Trump will pour it into vouchers to use public taxpayer dollars to pay for private school tuition. This is outrageous and unfair to our children, our families, and our communities, especially given the recent research reports that have come out showing that voucher students fare more poorly than children who choose to stay in their public school systems. Our children are watching. Our children deserve better opportunities, better support to thrive in their learning. Let me stress again that in stark contrast to Trump's horrible plan to cut public education, Hillary Clinton is with us. She's with you and me as educators, she's with our students, she's with the families we serve, and the communities where we live. Hillary Clinton's plan to strengthen public education is all about TLC, teaching, learning, and community, and that is why we as educators will continue to work hard to elect Hillary Clinton as our next president.
Good afternoon. My name is Phil Hayes. I've been a teacher for the past 18 years and I love it. I have taught in Columbus City Schools and I'm privileged to serve as the Vice President of the Columbus Education Association. I'm here to tell you that education is extremely important and it is the key to so much that Hillary wants to achieve with this country, and central to education also includes an economy that works for everyone. And it's not just for the folks at the top, it's everyone. So making sure that that economy is strengthened is a core part of Hillary Clinton's plan, and she has a bold plan to put quality education, higher education, college education within everyone's reach, no matter how much money they have. Now, too many families in the United States are struggling with debt and making sure that college is affordable for their children. Hillary Clinton has a plan to make college debt-free for future generations and also help others make sure, and millions of Americans, help them with their tuition right now. So to ensure the cost is not a barrier for education for young people seeking a college education, Hillary proposes to eliminate college tuition for working families making up to $125,000 a year, and they will pay no tuition at in-state public colleges and universities, and that would impact more than 80% of families in this country. She'll also provide immediate help to graduates who need relief from crushing debt payment. She's also going to fight to ensure that we can refinance our student loans at current rates, just like we do with car and house payments. She'll also let students enroll in income-based debt repayment so that no more than 10% of their monthly income goes to paying their college debt, and college debt is forgiven within 20 years. She'll provide relief to those who are entrepreneurs starting a business or a social enterprise, so aspiring entrepreneurs can get a delayed start on their loan repayments for up to 3 years with no payments or interest, so that the student debt and lack of family wealth don't interfere with those folks getting a quality college education. She's also going to reward public service. If you do 2 years of national service with AmeriCorps and a year of public service, you'll have your loans forgiven. She also proposes to have teachers who teach in high-need areas or hard-to-staff areas like computer science or special education to have enhanced loan forgiveness. Hillary Clinton has pledged to achieve the goal of debt-free college for future graduates. Donald Trump isn't even thinking about anything, and he hasn't said anything. He isn't talking about how to make college more affordable for young people and families. That is why she's right for Ohio, and he is the wrong one for Ohio. And so we know that we have a partner, an advocate with Hillary Clinton in the state of Ohio. Thank you.
Hello. Let me tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm joining my colleagues as an educator for Hillary. My name is Gina Daniel. I teach 10th grade history in Licking County, Ohio, and I love what I do. For the last 16 years, I've dedicated my life to helping students understand the past, appreciate our history, and look to their future. I'm proud of the work I do with my students. I'm proud of the people they become when they leave my classroom, and I'm honored to get to work with amazing young people every day. Educators just like me across this country go to work every day with a mission to help guide and change the lives of our students. This is not a mission we take lightly. We fight to ensure that every student in every community, regardless of their zip code, every community, regardless of their zip code, no matter their race, has the opportunity to succeed. And that is why I'm here today. We are joining together in Ohio and across the country to speak up against injustice in this world and to join together to tear down all the barriers that are holding us back. Hillary has been tearing down barriers for Americans her whole life. She spent 40 years fighting for women's rights, for children, and for what's right. If you look at Hillary Clinton's career, it's obvious that at her core is the firm belief that every child deserves the chance to live up to his or her potential. After law school, Hillary could have taken a high-paying job in Washington or New York, but instead she went to work for the Children's Defense Fund. She went door to door in New Bedford, Massachusetts, gathering stories about the lack of schooling for children with disabilities. These testimonials contributed to the passage of the historic legislation that required the state to provide quality education for students with disabilities. I'm sure it wasn't easy work, nor did it pay the most, but it was work that made a difference for kids. As a teacher, I understand that type of work ethic, and I appreciate it, and so do my students. Hillary Clinton didn't stop advocating for students then or ever. In 1977, Hillary co-founded the Arkansas Advocates for Children and Families, one of the state's first child advocacy groups. As a U.S. Senator, she called for a national initiative to help establish high-quality pre-K programs, including providing pre-K at no cost to low-income families. As President, Hillary will continue to fight to give every child access to a quality public education. My students deserve and need the best advocates for public education that they can get. Now, more than ever, we need a strong and effective leader who will do what's best for the future of all of America's students and working families. That leader is Hillary Clinton. As educators, we can trust that she will partner with us, stand up alongside us, and fight for the girls and boys in our classrooms and across the country. And we know we have a partner and advocate in Hillary Clinton, and that's why I'm with her. Thank you.